Eyes and ears. And if you're still eating and chowing down, please eat all the chocolate you can. This is the one day when it's okay. Because tomorrow you're all coming to my office. I need to lose weight, David! Fix me! First thing, you guys who are coaches, therapists, whatever, the minute somebody comes into your waiting room and says, I need you to make me X, send them home. You will do for them the greatest gift you could ever give them. You will call them on their bullshit. Okay? You want someone to change? Destroy their worldview. Not the way their sense of physical or emotional equilibrium. They become very, very open to change quickly. Now, can't you? Too late. Okay. Are we on, James? Yes. Thank you. What do you guys think so far of the night? Having a good time?
Yeah.
Learning a lot?
1 to 10, a 10.
Cool. Now we're going to turn it up. Okay? So a couple of things. Remember that your nervous system is the most advanced, multidimensional, changeable information processing system, reality creation mechanism ever invented. The beauty and the tragedy of what we're learning about, and we're just scratching the surface, is that there really is no such thing as reality. Now, for most people, that's a tremendously liberating and terrifying concept. Okay? But it's true. You see, everything I do and my work has always been about the understanding of feedback loops. Everybody get this okay? Okay. We talk about feedback loops. What am I really talking about? Well, X happens, then Y happens. The most complex one that we talk about, if you've read books like or seen movies like The Secret, we talk about the big universe and the little universe. If you're into metaphysics, into magic, any of the old mystery schools, you'll hear the term as above, so below. Okay? It's just another way of saying big universe, little universe. Chinese had this concept for thousands and thousands of years. Had very, very complex systems for making them work. NLP came along and made it dramatically simple. But there's still a lot you can learn from those older systems once you know what to look for. But we need to understand that everything we do is about vibration. If we have XY vibration, we will attract XY circumstances that generate feelings of XY. Notice I didn't say a situation or a specific situation. I said will generate feelings of X or Y. Our nervous system hones in on feelings. It hones in on the oscillation, the vibrational rate of the events in our life. Not the picture we create in our head, usually, although that can be helpful. It's the feelings in our body that call into our life events that correspond and regenerate those feelings. Okay? How many people here have ever heard of a show called Lie to Me?
I love that show.
I love that show too. You should rent every season. It gets a little psychotic towards the end. But then again, anything with Tim Roth has a tendency to get psychotic anyway.
You can get it on Netflix as well.
Now, the consultant for that show was a man by the name of Paul Ekman. And if you have a taste for very dense material, read his stuff. Paul Ekman is one of the world's leading authorities on the study of emotion and facial cues. He wrote a book called The Emotions Revealed, where he actually talks about a concept called the emotional refractory period. Anybody here ever have the pleasure of being in an argument with somebody? Raise your hands. Anybody here ever have the pleasure of being in an argument with somebody, resolving the argument, and then for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes afterwards, anything you said pissed them off again? Welcome to the wonderful world of the emotional refractory period. Anybody here ever buy a car? New car? Or just a car they really lusted after? And then they bought the car, and then everywhere they went, they saw the car. It was everywhere. It's like everybody bought the same car on the same day. Right? It was a conspiracy to screw with your head. Welcome to the wonderful world of the emotional refractory period. Every time you create a feeling state in your body, physiologically, your system does something very, very sneaky, very, very predictable, and very, very cool. It changes what you consciously pay attention to. It focuses only on the information in the relationships and the environment that reinforce or re-trigger the state. You can think of your emotions as little life forms that want to live as long as possible. And it needs nourishment. So what does it do? It makes you focus on stuff that makes you feel the same way. Now interestingly, not another sidebar, for those of you who are into weird things like magic and metaphysics and that kind of stuff that doesn't exist. They tell you that when you have when you're possessed or when there's these entities, they do things in your energy field that cause you to feel a certain way, so you'll act a certain way. Anybody notice something here? Kind of the same process, isn't it? Does it really matter which set of terminology is right? This is the process. That's the truth. Whether it's caused by entities outside of us or entities inside of us, doesn't matter. We deal with them the same way. We change our feelings. We change our feelings, we change our perceptions. Change our perceptions, we change our beliefs. That's your first, this is the big feedback loop. We call things into our life that are in harmony with the way we feel most of the time.
Change our feelings, change our perceptions.
Ah, somebody's putting the bells and whistles together. We often say that perception is belief. Those of you who spend a lot of time in the mind-body fields, what we believe, we perceive, right? Well, guess what? What we perceive, we believe as well. There's a story that gets thrown around a lot of the NLP circles, a lot of the change work circles, about when the explorers first came to the New World. And they hit the shore, I think it was Tahiti or one of those islands out there. And the natives couldn't see the ships the explorers were traveling in until they lowered the longboats to go to shore. And then all of a sudden, the ships appeared. Because the ship was so far outside of their belief system, they couldn't see it. But the longboats were close enough to what the villagers knew. It created a bridge. This is why many times we can't get from A to Z. We see something we want, but everything in between isn't there. We can't see it. Most people, how many people here want to write a book? How many people here never get past the first frickin' page? Right? Do you know why? Because you're trying to start from the beginning. Start from the end. Start from the end result and work back. Just a little thing might help. Perception and belief. Remember, feelings change your perceptions. Perceptions change your beliefs. And so on, and so on, and so on. If we can inject change at one end of the cycle, we can affect all the others. If we can change both ends, change is impossible to stop. Most of us try to change through willpower. We try to change through the most superficial level of our brain. This is your brain on David, by the way. This is called the neocortex. This is the most superficial level of the brain. We also call that your rational lying brain. It's the part that's designed to come up with all the socially acceptable and justifiable reasons for why you want to do the things you really want to do, that have nothing to do with the actual reason you want to do them. Okay? It will create a very plausible rationale. Those of you who do any kind of hypnosis work, any kind of deep therapy work, you'll probably know this, you'll understand this. If not, I'm going to give you guys a little thing. The reason people come to me is never the reason they're there. 100% of the time. The person comes to me and says, I keep clenching my jaw, I have this mouth guard, I've had it for 20 years, I can't stop clenching my jaw. I think it's because I'm angry over this accident, or I just like clenching my jaw. You get them in the chair, you take them back to the first scene, situation, or event that has everything to do with why they're there. They're 2 years old. Their mom left and they're stuck with the nanny, and they're pissed. Resolve it there. My jaw feels so light, thank you. In hypnosis therapy work, we call that the presenting problem. The reason you're stuck is almost never the reason you're stuck. Which again goes back to a concept I talked about earlier called your dominant thoughts. The rational lying brain creates a screen, it creates a filter that creates complex rationales for why you're screwed up. And until you get past it, you'll pretty much keep creating what you've got down there. Okay? But we can change it. How? Feelings. The more we can feel what we want on demand, the more everything about us changes. Everything. Come here, Jamin. Everybody give Jamin a big round of applause. I love this kid, okay, because he, more than anybody else that I've worked with, represents what's possible. I started NLP Power, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, James? How long ago was it? How long? You came to the very
It was about 5 years.
5 years ago. James C2 and Jamin were some of the first people that came to those meetups, and I give up better stuff for free than most people charge for. I'm okay with that. Because my belief is, if I help you change your life, you'll want more. And when you want more, you know where to go, right?
Value.
Value. Jamin came to me, I taught a technique called the interview crusher. It's a simple conversational framework that zeroes right in on the emotional hot buttons that any employer has for hiring the ideal employee. He went out the next day, well, you tell him, you can tell him.
Yeah, when I first came to the meetup, we were actually talking about ways to, they talk about criteria and values was the strongest one that I found effective in the interviews that I was doing. And ultimately, we all have reasons, you all have reasons for doing what you do and why you came here today. So too does the interviewees, or the interviewers, the people I was applying for. So I knew that I was competent in the skills that I was interviewing for, but so maybe we're also the people that were going to be applying for it as well. So I just, it made a lot of sense, the simplistic nature that David was able to kind of lay out in the meeting. And literally, like the next day, I was like, okay, I'll just do this and put it into action. And there was both the different positions I was interviewing for, and I was able to choose between them because of implementing the tools that I learned.
You had them fighting over them.
Yeah.
Right.
It was good, yeah.
Right? In this world, a little bit of information is a quantum leap if it's applied properly. Because it's his first time back from taking a world cruise, him and his family literally sailed around the world in their sailboat. Okay, he kept sending me these weird pictures from all these places with all these really hot women. And I was pissed. I did that for him! But I'm going to do a demo with him just to kind of show you some things that we can begin to do to take control of our own nervous system and start generating change and feelings very, very quickly. Okay? Now, I could spend 3 or 4 hours unpacking what I'm about to do in about 2 minutes. But you don't have to. You just have to do what I tell you to do. That make sense? Okay, so, and I can bring James up later, and we can do all kinds of testimonies and things about how people's lives have changed, but that's enough. So James, I know this is going to be he's so expressive, you're going to have a ball with this guy. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to think and remember the most intense, joyful, pleasurable, desirable experience you've ever had. Good. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes and point to where you feel it in your body. Now look at it with your inner eyes, and I want you to notice that there's a color associated with that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Green.
Cool. On a scale of 0 to 10, rate the feelings.
Where I'm at with them now?
Yeah, just doesn't matter. It's going to get better.
Right now, I'd say it's a 4.
Cool.
It's
Reach
kind
in
of
with,
working up. Yeah.
Good. Reach in with both your hands. Take all that green energy out. Hold it in your hands. Make sure it's all in your hands, because sometimes that shit hides. Is it all in your hands?
Mm-hmm.
You sure? Did it change color or stay the same?
It's more warm.
Good. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to notice it's moving in a certain direction. What direction is it moving? First impression.
Clockwise.
Cool. I want you to take it in both of your hands and grip it strong. I want you to double the speed in the spin. Double the amplitude. Keep doubling it. Keep amplifying it. Double it and triple it until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was, and it's only going to get better. And when you know you've got it, when you know it's impossible to stop, slam it back in. Whoosh. Notice the change. Notice how it only gets stronger. This boy needs a shower. How fast was that? Go Bliss out in the back of the room. Give me a round of applause. Anybody here have an ouchie? An ache or a pain? You, come here. I zapped you last time. You're going on YouTube, motherfucker. And the title's going to be, Watch Me Stem This Guy. All right, so is it a physical pain?
Yes.
Cool. Point to where you feel it.
Here.
Right there?
Yes.
Right on. Cool. Close your eyes. Point to it. On a scale of 0 to 10, rate the sensation.
4.
Good. Look at it with your inner eyes now. Notice that there's a color associated with that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Red.
Good. Take both of your hands, reach in, grab all that red energy. Take it out and hold it in your hands. Just reach in, grab it all out, dig it all out. Make sure it's all in your hand, because sometimes that shit hides.
Got it.
Got it? Did the color change or stay the same, first impression?
Changed.
Okay, what color did it change to?
Purple.
Excellent. Notice as you look at it, it's moving in a certain direction. What's the direction, first impression?
Like this.
Good. Take it in both your hands. I want you to physically reorient it in space so it's rotating the opposite of what it was. Physically move it.
Yes.
I need to see it.
Yes.
Now double the spin. Double it again. Keep doubling. Double it. Stronger, stronger, faster, faster, harder and harder until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. And when you know you've got it, slam it back in. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Let the feelings come up, because that's why they're there. That's it. Let it come up. It's okay. What just happened?
Oh, feels better.
And it will just keep getting better. Give a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Same process, slight tweak, same nervous system. Okay? I know. Try to bring it back. It's just going to get... He's freaking out. It won't come back. It won't come back. Okay? Feelings. The feelings in your body determine everything else. Okay? In NLP, we say all convincer strategies end in a kinesthetic. They end in a feeling, either an external feeling or an internal feeling. Usually we feel something, then we do something. If all convincer strategies, in other words, the amount of times we need to repeat something or experience something before it becomes true for us, that's what a convincer strategy is. If every single human being on the planet, their strategy ends with a feeling, why not start there? Why go through all these long, complex, drawn-out formula if all we need to do is change the feeling? The question becomes, how do we do that? Every feeling in your body is energy in motion. Anybody who's any kind of alternative healthcare knows that. Energy must move. Whether it's for wealth, financial abundance, or physical health. If the energy isn't moving, you're dying. You're suffering. You're in pain. The reason you're here is because there's something you want that's in you, and something's keeping you from getting it. There's some place in your life that energy isn't moving. So let's just get it moving. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. First, I want you to go through your life, and I want you to find the most pleasurable, wonderful, exciting, juicy, ecstatic, orgasmic, whatever does it for you. Because I'm not going to ask you what it is. But I want it to be on a scale of 0, like that Spinal Tap movie, you know, the amplifier goes, most people go to 10, theirs goes to 11. That's how strong I want it to be for you. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you 2 keys that once you understand this, you can have anything you want. If you don't understand this, you can shoot yourself in the foot. Your choice, though. I mean, you want it or not? Because I can go home. I can go. Okay. All right. Remind me. Ooh. Thank you, Leonid. Leonid comes down from Orange County for this shit. Give him a big round of applause. Len, even worse. All right. This technique works on everyone. And you don't have to believe it. If you look, I have different personas. Some of you know me as David Snyder if you've been on NLPpowerbeatup.com. But I have a secret life. I teach people how to have orgasms. I teach men how to become the kind of lover every woman fantasizes about. I teach women how to be free of their inhibitions, their sexual baggage, their emotional baggage, and find the right kind of men. That's my other life. If you look for me and some of my YouTube stuff in my other life, you will see a video called the Touchless Orgasm, or Instant Orgasm video, where I literally bring a woman in, first words out of her mouth when she met me, I don't think I can be hypnotized. I love that. So I'm not going to hypnotize you. But you believe in energy? Uh-huh. And in 2 or 3 minutes, she's having grand mal orgasm. With her clothes on. Her life changed after that. Why? Because remember I began this whole series with this talk about oxytocin and how it changes your brain? The largest release of oxytocin in the human body does not happen when you eat chocolate. It happens at the moment of orgasm. The moment of orgasm. If you're not quite wanting to go there, hugs will do it too, but it takes about 20 minutes. So how long do you want to wait? Right? But here's my point. However we get the oxytocin into the system, if we give our brains and our nervous system instructions about what to do and how to feel, we change the nervous system. We change the neurology. I saw, and I didn't do this, but I witnessed it happen. I saw a woman's spider phobia be cured by 20 minutes of intense orgasm.
What?
Spider phobia. Okay? That's how powerful. I've seen people's sense of smell that they lost when, how old was he?
Oh, no, it was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Richard brought him up on stage, ran him through an intense pleasure cycle, gave him some suggestions. Later that day, his sense of smell that had been gone for years came back. Why? Because the nervous system rewired itself. It can do that. Now, the technique that you just saw me do with Jamin, do you think he was in pain? You think he was ready for some he was ripe and ready for some serious reprogramming? Jamin does something very, very easily that a lot of people have trouble with. Nobody in this room, of course. But he becomes very absorbed and very focused. How many people here have ever been a little kid? Raise your hands. Okay, so I'm getting kind of nervous. I've had people go. How many people here, when you were a little girl or a little boy, or little niño, how many of you played pretend? Raise your hands.
Pretend?
Pretend, right? Every now and then I get the consummate data process. Well, I played with computational models. Leave now! No. But here's my point. When you were playing pretend, did you play pretend as a little girl? Were you a tomboy or a tomgirl?
A tomboy.
Oh, I bet you were too. So what kind of, when you played as a tomboy, what was your favorite character to be?
I was a superhero.
Superhero! I love that shit. Which superhero were you?
The all-powerful one.
The all-powerful one. I am Galactus. Oh, we know who the Marvel fans are. Okay. How about you, sir? Did you play pretend as a kid?
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite character or type of character you like to play?
I remember having like imaginary friends.
Cool. That's even better. And did your imaginary friends like steal shit and blame it on you?
No.
How about you? Did you play pretend?
Yeah.
What'd you play?
I like to grab a stick and pretend I was fighting something.
All right. What's your name, sir?
Aldo.
Aldo. I'm betting when you were out in the backyard and you were playing pretend, you picked up your stick and you were fighting somebody. When you picked up that stick, the moment you picked up that stick, you knew it was a stick for about the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was a flaming sword and you were playing Dungeons and Dragons, slaying mastodons, doing whatever, right? And when nobody was looking, kissing the hot girl. Were you asleep?
What's that?
Were you asleep?
No.
No? Were you having a ball?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Were you completely absorbed and focused in the experience? If you can do that, ladies and gentlemen, just like when you were a kid, you can have anything you want. That's trance. That's what we do. We don't turn into a vegetable or a flesh robot. We give ourselves permission to play, to become as little children, to become absorbed and focused in the experience that we're having. And the juicier and more vibrant you can make it, the faster you engage your imagination and your body. If you want to get fast, effective, permanent change, you must engage the body. You must. Otherwise, you're going to take 20 years. If you're fast, a couple months. But I'm lazy. I want it now! So here's the thing. When you do these exercises, there's this little part of us that's going to want to say, you're going to look stupid if you just have grand mal orgasms in front of people. Fuck that. It's your life. Give yourself permission to feel as good as humanly possible, and then make it better. Because if we go through life feeling tremendously good, at will, all the time, what must happen? What must happen based on the law of attraction?
We'll create it. We'll be that.
You'll
We'll
attract
have
it.
it. We'll do it.
Right?
Have it.
Everything starts with a simple feeling. But you see, most of us spend most of our time practicing shit. Practicing crappy feelings. That's why that first page, do you have this symptom? Do you have this symptom? I gave you that so you know you're practicing shit. All right? But we can choose to do something different, and that's what we're going to do. But I needed to give you the whole absorption-focused phenomenon. Anybody here ever go see a movie? No, I've never seen a movie, asshole. Asshole being a technical term, which I haven't come up with a cool acronym for, but I'm working on it. And you all know that when you go and you see a movie, what was your favorite movie?
Day after tomorrow.
Day After Tomorrow. Oh. That's all right. It's cool. But I guarantee when you went to that favorite movie, yours was Titanic, wasn't it? Or The Notebook. You're a Notebook girl. My wife's a Notebook girl.
Hey, mine was Titanic.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm feeling. Sorry, I had him on. By the way, here's another secret to the universe. Stop taking yourself so fucking seriously. Most people live small lives because the image they have in their own head is smaller than everybody else's around them. The imagery you create inside your head radiates outward and affects everyone around you. We have to practice something else. Okay? We have whole courses on that, but let's start changing today, okay? Absorption and focus. When you went to the movie, the lights went down. The curtain opened, if it had a curtain. A lot of the old style movie theaters had curtains, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe you had your popcorn, your hot chick, or your hot guy, right? And every now and then they do the sneaky romance thing. They go, oh! Right? I have a course on that too. But my point is, the movie starts, and for the next 90, 120, 3 hours, you have this amazing experience. Can you tell me at what point in that movie you became completely absorbed in the experience? Because if you could, you're lying. You weren't absorbed. You weren't focused. Why am I telling you this? Because there's a tendency for part of us to want to kind of hang out on the outside and evaluate the experience. That's the part that will keep you stuck. When I'm dealing with audiences of primarily, average human beings, and I don't use average in a negative sense, but people who don't spend a lot of time in the mind-body areas, so they don't have access to a lot of the terminologies and things. I talk about smart person syndrome. Smart person syndrome is, that shit don't work on me and you can't make it happen. Get that a lot in stage hypnosis. People try to be the smart guy or the smart girl. In therapy circles, people who are trained, we have what we call hypnotist disease. Hypnotist disease is that weird phenomenon that happens when you're being guided as a hypnotist, you're being guided through the process as a patient or a subject. And rather than having the full experience, there's a part of you kind of hanging out on the outside, evaluating how good the hypnotist is and if there's anything that you can steal. And subsequently, they don't get the change either. Okay? If you have one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake, guess what? You don't get anywhere very fast. So when you go through this process, fully engage everything. Pull out the stops. Let it be as, if on a scale of 0 to 10, your best is only a 4, great. It doesn't matter. Because just like muscle, what we do more often gets stronger and stronger. Okay? So whatever you get, be fully in it. Feel good for no friggin' reason. And magic will happen. Okay? So, that being said, I want you all to stand up, because I find this just works better when you're on your feet. Now, can everybody see me okay? You don't really need to see me, but you do need to follow instructions as rapidly and as fully as possible, okay? So here's what I want you to do. Everybody just kind of close your eyes. And I want you to remember a time in your life when you felt the most intense, wonderful, full body, all-consuming joy, pleasure, ecstasy, whatever it is. It can be natural, it can be drug-induced. I don't care. I don't pass judgments. All I care about is that it was the most wonderful experience you've ever had. And as you remember those feelings, I want you to notice something. There's a place in your body where those feelings start. There's a place in your body where they go next. I want you to take your physical hand, actually take your eyes, your inner eyes, and look at that spot in your body and point to it physically. That's right. I want you to notice something. I want you to notice that there's a color associated with that feeling. Notice the color. First impression. Reach in with both of your hands. Take all of that energy out, hold it in your hands in front of you, and make sure you've got it all, because sometimes it hides. I want you, as you look at it, notice if the color changed or stayed the same. Notice it's moving in a certain direction. This is the pleasure direction. I want you to take it physically in your hands as tightly as you can, and I want you to double the spin, double the amplitude, and keep physically doubling it. Just double it, stronger and stronger, until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was, and it can only get stronger. When you know you've got it, slam it back in, whoosh. Notice the change. Notice it only gets stronger. With every breath you take and every beat of your heart, it just washes through you. And it makes a circuit in your body. It comes back to its point of origin, and whoosh, it starts again. And whoosh, it starts again. And whoosh, it starts again. And if you want to turn it up even more, take it back out, spin it even faster. And then put it back in and notice what happens. Whoosh! If you want more, take it back out, spin it even faster. The more you get the body involved, the more bandwidth you activate in your neurology, the better it gets. Whoosh! And just be in it. That's it. Notice how good you feel. Excellent. Ooh, I just got a little rush of secondary ecstasy. That's kind of cool. But have a seat. That'll be $20. Who had a really cool experience? Aldo, what was this like for you, brother? You can't even talk. That's all right. Just sit there and enjoy the afterglow. That's when you know you got somebody. Okay. Here's the beauty of this. Yes, Sam.
What helps with this experience is that it's guided.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking if I were to do this by myself, like, would it be as extreme as
It can be. It's really dependent on your level of absorption. Like when I do it for myself, which sometimes I never leave the house, but one of the things I have to do for me physically, because it's always the person who develops the doctor never takes care of his own medicine, right? Because I created the technique. Of course, it works on everybody but me. Horseshit. It works best on me, right? But one of the things that I do is when I take out the energy, I start physically, like I imagine like the little spokes or like little holes that my fingers fit through, and I just start doing this. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer for me to get into it, but it'll eventually kick in. You see, it can't not happen. This is neuroscience. You see, there's a process that we all go through whenever we're presented with new information or new stimulus. First, we accept it and believe it, then we analyze it and disbelieve it. It almost goes hand in hand with that whole Farsian concept. First, we have to create something before we can try to negate something, right? When we begin to get the meat suit involved, there's a brief moment when the neocortex and the rest of the brain and the rest of the nervous system kind of battle for supremacy. But the moment the physiology is engaged, there is far more amplitude behind the signal going to absorption than there is resistance to what we consciously know to be true. Okay? And it will just overwrite any conscious resistance that you have. Unless there's a part of you that's kind of sitting outside going, is it work or isn't it? But that's why I tell you about those things first, so that you can guard against them. But I've taken pains away from myself. I've taken pains out of other people. I've put stuff in, I've used this one technique to literally cure cancer. Or at least help cure cancer. The risk of creating pervasive changes. Okay, I've used this on fluid in the pericardium. I've used this on ascites. I've used this on chronic neck injuries. I've used this on high blood pressure, low back pain, migraines, phobias, low self-esteem. I've used it, it's because it's about how your nervous system processes the information. Just like a computer has a language, your nervous system has a language. It's just not the words as we understand them. It's feelings, it's visual imagery, it's sounds. Not necessarily words, but sounds, tones. And when we understand how to talk to the body in its own language, we can tell it how to do things. Otherwise, the system just acts at random and by default. And if you move through the world doing random shit, you're going to get random results. And that's really...
The system has a language which is feelings, and what else?
Feelings, visual imagery,
feelings,
colors, tones, the raw building blocks of our experience, not the intricate, complex ones that we think about. Those are all creations of our rational, lying brain. Think more primal. Think reptilian, and you'll be able to really, really start to create your own life. How many people here, okay, so here's the first thing we want to do. We want to understand the roots of resistance, right? So we can understand how to talk to ourselves, how to create messages to our unconscious mind that have a very, very strong chance of being accepted and acted upon. We want to create an environment within us that is conducive to the acceptance and the implementation of those things. We do that through feeling states. We do that through amplifying the oxytocin in our systems, through increasing the pleasure states, the states we want to feel more of in our life. We have to practice those. Because a really cool thing happens as a byproduct of that. When you move through the world feeling really, really good, suddenly everyone around you starts feeling really, really good too. And they start giving you shit. They start doing stuff for you just because. Okay? That's the leverage I was talking about earlier, the return on your investment. Okay? But we have to be willing to go from stage 2 to stage 3 of the unconscious competence model, don't we? We have to be willing to try on something different, to suck at it a little bit before we can get good at it. Okay? That being said, I want you to close your eyes. Put your feet flat on the floor. Take a deep breath in. Let that breath out with a sigh. And I want you to remember something we did together just a few moments ago. We learned a process, a really cool process, where we could begin to feel good on demand. To literally take any physical sensation in our body, and by finding it where it lives, by reaching in and looking at it with our inner eyes and seeing the color, noticing the direction, taking it completely out of our body, noticing the direction it was moving, and then consciously deciding, do I want more of it or less of it?
More.
And if we want more, we just spin it the way it's already moving. We double the amplitude. We double the spin. We double the intensity. And we keep physically moving it with our hands. We keep doubling it. We get the body involved until it's impossible to go back the way it was. Until we know it's absolutely unstoppable. And when we know we've got it, no sooner than when we know we've got it, we slam it back in. Whoosh! All that pleasure comes flooding back. Just like there are times in your life when there's feelings that you had in your body that you wanted to get rid of. And the process for removing those becomes very, very simple as well. We notice in our bodies where those feelings live. We look at it with our inner eyes and we notice that there's a color. We point to it physically. We reach in with both of our hands and we grab all of that energy. Whether we believe in energy or not, doesn't matter. It's information. We take it out, we look at it, we notice what direction it's moving. And if one direction is causing discomfort or something we don't want, then obviously if we move it the opposite of what it was, it has to create the opposite effect. So that's all we do. We physically reorient it and double the spin in the opposite direction. And then we double it again. And we keep doubling it. And we keep doubling it until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. Until it takes on a life of its own. And then when we know we've got it, when we know it's impossible to ever go back, we slam it back in. Notice the changes. Notice it's gone. And the wonderful thing about those experiences is because they take place on the inside of our mind and inside our bodies, there's a different set of rules that apply. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, inside, whatever we can imagine, whatever we can act out, becomes true on the outside. On the inside, we are beyond the realms of time and space. Because time and space, ladies and gentlemen, is just information that our nervous system processes. Now, as you begin to focus all of your attention on the lids of your eyes, letting the wonderful sensations you've learned and experienced today grow ever stronger with every breath you take and every beat of your heart, let those feelings double, triple, intensify, circulating to every part of your body and mind. Another part of you can begin to float out of your physical body. In fact, you can look down from that place on high. Maybe even see the top of your head as you're floating up higher and higher and higher. Noticing you might even see colors floating in and around your body as those wonderful sensations begin to circulate. And you can begin to notice from up there something really cool. It's like there's two parts of your nervous system that suddenly turn on. One part starts moving through every level of your nervous system, finding all the pleasure states you've ever had. Zeroing in on where they live in your body. Beginning to pay attention to how they're moving. The directions they're spinning and the amplitudes. And they begin to double. They begin to triple. They begin to spread, saturating your body, saturating your mind with a new experience, getting ready for something even cooler. There's another part of your nervous system, the other part, and it's moving in a slightly different way, maybe even a slightly different color. It begins to sort through every level of your body and mind, finding every place, every cell, every atom, every nerve, every acupuncture point or meridian, whatever you consider part of your total being, it finds every part of you that's harboring a less than positive experience, a less than positive event. And, ladies and gentlemen, the feelings and the reasons that they're there in the first place. And it begins to do something amazing. It begins to pay attention to the color. It begins to pay attention to the direction. And as if there were 1,000 versions of you targeting all of those areas, it reaches in. It grabs that energy with both of your hands. And it changes it and turns it so it's the opposite of what it was. And then it doubles the spin. And then it doubles it again. and then it doubles it again. And it keeps doubling it with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. Those feelings begin to change, they begin to amplify, they begin to spread all throughout your body. So simultaneously, you have the most amazing sensations of pleasure, joy, ecstasy, whatever the word is that makes it all work for you. And at the same time, there's a tremendous release, a tremendous feeling of freedom, starting from the deepest levels of your body and mind and working its way outward. As this happens, you may feel emotions come up. That's perfect. That's the shedding process. Because just like a snake sheds its skin, like the caterpillar emerges as the butterfly, the beauty inside is coming out. And so you remove, you get rid of, you purge what's no longer necessary, what's no longer part of you. And then it just doubles, triples. Letting those processes happen. Not trying to control it, but just being completely absorbed in the experience. However it works for you, let it. Change is inevitable. All that other part of your mind floats higher and higher and higher. It begins to float back in time. And it's almost like you can look down on the events of your life like you're on a line of time. Maybe seeing things that happened yesterday, things that happened the month before, a year before, back when you were a kid, back when you were a little baby, maybe even back before you were conceived, in a time and a place where all you were was consciousness. Nothing but understanding and awareness, free of a body. And in that place, there's a voice of absolute trust, absolute love, security, sincerity, courage. And it begins to tell you all of the things that you need to know, all of the things that you need to understand in a way that you absolutely believe, in order to process the coming events of your life in a whole new way, so that you can understand, so that you can survive, and you can thrive. It's filled with a joy, a sense of understanding. And it says something else very, very important to you. It says, by the way, it teaches you at an unconscious level how to do this spinning from this moment forward, so that you only get better at it with each coming year of your life. From the time you're conceived through your childhood years, you'll automatically start spinning everything in the right direction. Automatically letting your other than conscious mind reprocess whatever needs to happen. Amplifying the pleasure, reprocessing the less than positive experiences. That voice, this absolute voice of trust, guidance, and authority, teaches you exactly how to do it in a way that you just get it. And it says something else. It says, I love you. No matter where you go, whatever you do, no matter what life hands you, I will always be there for you. To hold your hand, to advise you, to give you that hug, to tell you what a good person you really are, so that no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you're always loved, and you're never alone. Let the truth of that sink in. Notice where it starts in your body. Notice how it spins and how it starts to take on a life of its own. And it starts to grow stronger, stronger, until it rewires everything about you, suffuses you with the things you want, things you need to know. And as you begin to move forward through every level of your life, notice how the events of your life and your perceptions of those events begins to change, begins to transform. How you've learned how to contact different levels of your body and mind. How you've learned to program the future. How you learn to clear out the blocks. How to spin things in just the right way. Feel yourself moving through every event of your life only at the rate and speed that it's right for you. Letting the changes happen. Realizing it's just the beginning. And then when you reach that moment in time, now, you begin to move forward into tomorrow and the day after. And there are things that you want, things that you want to create, to manifest, to have more of. Begin to create not just a picture, but most importantly, the feelings associated with them. And as you move into the future, find that time and that place, a week, a year, 2 years from now, whatever it is. And plug those images right into that line of time. Feel those feelings ripple back, all the way back to now. Connecting with everything from the moment of conception forward. It's almost like you can see the path. It's like your unconscious mind created a memory of the future. That must happen. Because just like we program a GPS, when your unconscious mind creates something, it must manifest it. Notice how your life has changed from this place. Notice how you view yourself. Notice how other people talk about you, how they see you. Notice how your own personal truths have changed as a result of what you've learned. And notice how much you want it. Because you've learned so much. And it's just the beginning. Spin them even stronger. Amplify the feelings. Feel it ripple through every level of body and mind as you begin the journey back to the body. Realizing, for all the right reasons, that change is inevitable. Nothing left to do but sit back and enjoy the ride. And remember, the secret ingredient is action. Because the best GPS in the world can't help you if you only stay in one spot. As you get back to the now, merging back into the body, integrating fully, only at the rate and speed that you know you've changed for all the right reasons. Only at the rate and speed that you know you've got it. Allow your eyes to open and notice how the world has changed. Now. Just sing it. Take your time. Come on back. How many people need a cigarette? Did you have a good trip? This means yes, this means no, this means I'm not that kid. Okay. A couple of things. Everybody have a good time? Cool. All right. A couple of things I ask. If you had a good time tonight, please post positive, wonderful, glowing comments and things to the meetup. If you didn't have a good time, if you didn't enjoy what we did, please post to somebody else's. Got a couple of things coming up for you guys, some opportunities. After many years of trial and error, I realized that not everybody in the world wants to be a hypnotherapist. Not everybody in the world wants to go around wading through other people's trash, shoveling their shit and helping them get clear. That's a special kind of stupid. But it is, at one level, one of the most gratifying and humbling processes you can do. To watch somebody's whole world change in a matter of moments. There's nothing like it. It really isn't. So for those of you who want to take that a step further, for those of you who want to become agents of change in the world, we do offer, obviously I take clients, obviously I train, I teach. I'm going to talk to you about what I call the on-ramp, real quick. By the way, you probably guys really need to get more sugar and coffee in your systems. You guys just aren't oxytocin out enough yet. Okay, we have different ways that you can continue to interact and get involved. We have a training. It's what we call real-world hypnosis. It's a little bit of a different approach. Training and certification. That's the 21st through the 25th. It's a 5-day certification course. It's basically from beginner to expert in 5 days. I will take you so far down the rabbit hole that when you come out, you'll be in a completely different world. Okay? Because we demand that you go through all the change processes that you're going to be running people through. Okay? If you're interested in this kind of work, I'm not going to go too much into it here because most of you, that's not why you're here. But if you are, see me after class and I'll give you all the details on it. What some of you may be interested in though, and I think this is probably where most of you will want to pay attention. On February 2nd and 3rd, did you guys really like what we did tonight?
Yeah.
Would you like to take it even further?
Yeah.
Okay. The whole change process that I taught from today is called Destiny by Design, or Attractivation was the original term. It's a 7-stage process that systematically removes all of your limiting beliefs, repatterns your neurology, changes your identity, the foundations of your self-esteem, and it gives you the tools to literally steal the genius of other people. So if there's somebody that you really admire, somebody whose skills you just want to have, we will teach you a process as part of this called deep trance identification. And it's a process whereby using mirror neurons and proprioception, we can literally have you imprint onto yourself the skill sets, the attitudes, and beliefs of people who are excellent at what they do. We teach you that after we've taught you how to remove your limiting beliefs, how to program yourself, do deep self-hypnosis, and even change yourself through your handwriting. It's called graphotherapy. It's really cool. Okay? It's a 7-stage process. I only taught this once. Actually twice. First time Jamin was there was about 4 years ago. Remember the self-esteem workshop we did, right? And then I taught it one more time about a 1.5 years later to 2 people. Okay? And I taught that as more of a certification course where they could learn to do it. This one's going to be a little bit different. In this one, I'm going to teach it to you. I'm going to teach you the 7 stages. I'm going to teach you how to do unstoppable self-programming. I'm going to teach you how to rewire your neurology using your handwriting. Find every limiting belief you've got, nuke it, change your self-esteem from the roots of conception forward. And then I'm going to do it to you. I'm literally it's going to be done for you. So I'm going to teach you how to do it so you have the tools to program yourself for whatever you want. You're going to practice it until you own the skills. And then I'm going to do it to you. So obviously the class is going to have to be a little smaller to make sure everybody gets the tailoring that they need. But this is the first time I've ever done an event like this, where I'm not only going to do it to you, teach it to you, I'm going to do it to you. All 7 stages, I'm just going to zap you. Okay? Last time I taught this, I charged $1,997 for the 2 days. And I didn't do it to them. Actually, I wound up doing it to them because some of the stuff was a little complex. It's much simpler now. I didn't know how to spin as much as I did then. For those of you who want to get in, I'm not going to charge you that. How much should I charge you? Free! No.
$1.
$1. Are you worth $1? Is that all you're worth? No. For those of you who want to get in after, it's $497. 2 days. I charge $350 an hour clinically, by the way. In case you didn't know that. But you know what? I'm in a good mood. I'm going to give you guys a really special gift. But you have to take advantage of it before you walk out of here today. February 2nd and 3rd, full days. No waffling, no wimping out.
Sunday and Monday, by the way.
No, it isn't.
According to my calendar. it is.
Really?
Yeah.
First and
I
second.
did it again, damn it. Well, what's the Saturday and Sunday before that?
You want first and second?
First and second.
Oh, okay, that's what I did. So first and second. Well, I had 1 day, right? Don't trust any math I do, by the way. My math sucks. Anybody who wants to get in on this? By the way, one of the reasons that I'm charging so little for this is because I'm going to turn it into a product. I'm going to sell it probably online for $700-800. So I can tell you that during this event, I'm going to pull out all the stops. Not just because I want to make sure you guys get the changes, but because I need something that I can give to people and have them do the changes. If you sign up before you leave, you can get the whole thing for $197. For those of you who, where's my? There was some papers that with some pictures on it that I handed out. Did anybody see those? This is where I get the big fly in the ointment. I have